Do this and you will be welcomed anywhere. I was just reading this book right here, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. A lot of you guys probably already know about that book. It's a very famous book in the business world, and I would say even life in general, because it talks about, just dealing with people, which I believe is one of the most important skill that you can learn in life. Simply how to read people, how to handle people, how to just, have conversations with people and all of those things. I believe that it's really important. So I was just, going through the book, reading what I had highlighted, some notes that I had written there, and I just thought of putting this on video for you guys. Maybe it will help some of you. I'll try also to just, share my mind, and speak what I think about, the book in general and some ideas that come in my mind as well. So it's just a vlog, we can say, or whatever. It's just me speaking to you guys, with hopes that it may help you as well. So, by the way, if the camera sometimes, go down like this, it's just because I will not be able to handle the camera like this, for a long time. So, and if I change arm as well, well, it's for that same reason. So, if we go into the book, I want to share with you guys one of my favorite chapter, which is the name of the video, meaning do this and you will be welcomed anywhere. So that chapter, like I said, is one of my favorite chapter, and it starts with something very interesting. And I remember the first time I read it, I was like, wow, this is so true, and this is such a great analogy to life. So it says, did you ever stop to think that a dog is the only animal that doesn't have to work for a living? A hen has to lay eggs, a cow has to give milk, a canary has to sing, but a dog makes his living by giving you nothing but love, right? And so the first time I read that, like I said, I was so like, wow, like amazed, because it's just so true when you think about it. A dog is giving you nothing but love, right? That's the only thing that you actually, gain from the dog. If the dog is not there, well, you don't lose anything except, the love and the appreciation that he gives you. And this come back to a very simple idea, and something I believe is very important to understand is that we as humans love ourselves, right? We love ourselves more than any other person. It's impossible that you love another person more than you love yourself. And if you think so, well, try to think deeper about it. All right. Basically, every single action that a person will do has some personal interest in it. Even if you look at people who give out money to charities, who go in poor countries and try to help people there, it's awesome, right? Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. It's amazing what those people are doing. But there is also some personal interest in that, right? Maybe it's recognition from other people. Maybe it's winning a certain title. Maybe it's becoming well known, right? Like those interests, if they can be small, right? Maybe that one of their main motivation to do that is, like I said, just simply helping people. And if that is the case, it's really amazing. But the point here that is important to understand is that we all have our personal interest at heart, right? We care about ourselves as humans. And I think that this is one of the most important thing that you have to remember with dealing with people, because a lot of people, when they get into a conversation, or why they, if you have a business, if you try to sell your product to a potential customer or anything like that, so many people are just talking about their own interest, right? Their own self. Oh yes, this product has been so great to me. I've made so much money with this. It's always I. But the other person don't really care about, what you gain from that, or, how it benefits you. That person cares about how your product can benefit them, not you. So you always have to keep in mind that people care about themselves, right? Like that's one of the most important thing I believe in, that I've learned not only in this book, but it's, just a very simple key thing to apply in any relationship. You need to put the interest of the other person at your own heart as well, because that person cares about themselves. So if you don't, if you only care about yourself, if you only look out for your own personal interest, well, guess what? The relationship will not work, because the other person also cares about himself. So after that, in the same chapter of the book, it says something very interesting as well. Let me read you guys that. So it says, you can make more friends in 2 months by becoming genuinely interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get other people interested in you. And that is so fucking true, right? So many people, when I meet them, sometimes I'm like, bro, like, you are just bothering me, because so many people only talk about themselves. Oh yeah, I did this, I traveled there, I did that, blah blah blah, I have this business, I've read this book, I've met this person, I've traveled to this place. And all of those things that people talk about is so focused on their own self, right? And a lot of people are only able to talk about themselves, right? They are not even able to like ask questions or even show interest in the other person. And that is a big mistake when it comes to dealing with people, because like we said before, people love themselves. People are interested in themselves first. So that means that you have to show interest. And a very, very, very important thing I want to say about that as well, and that is also written in the book, and pay close attention because it's really, really important. When we say that you have to be interested in the other person, it has to be a real interest. It has to be genuine, right? You cannot fake being interested, because the other person will feel that. And that is not good, right? You have to be genuinely interested. You have to really be, in the moment and focusing on what the person is saying and trying to understand, trying to learn more from that person. But it has to be true. It has to be honest. It has to be real, right? Because otherwise it will not work. And the key with that is, dealing with people also comes from a being honest with yourself. So that means that if you are not interested in what the other person is saying, should you fake being interested? I personally don't think so. So if the person, is only talking about something that you really don't care, I think the best thing to do is simply telling him, right? Like, and you can do that very politely. You can just say, hey, I'm, we don't have the same interest when it comes to that. Maybe we can switch subject and try to find a conversation that, we are both interested in, right? Like there's no, there's nothing wrong with saying something like that. And I think it's much better if you actually handle the situation that way, rather than just trying to show fake interest. And let's say you're in the business and the person is like talking about horse. Well, it's it will be obvious if you actually fake and you're like, oh my god, your horse is so nice, wow, wow, and you ask so many questions about the horse. Well, maybe the other person will be like, wait a second, why is he so interested about my horse if that dude is like a businessman and only cares about growing in business and other things like that, right? So it has to be true, right? That's one of the most important thing that I hope you will take away from this video, is that when you show interest to people, make it real, guys, make it true, right? Don't fake it. And like I said before, if you're not interested in what the person is talking about, just tell him, hey, I'm not really interested about this, let's switch subject, let's talk about something else. And most of the time, well, the person will be like, oh, okay, cool, what do you want to talk about, right? And you just go on with another subject. So to continue on with the chapter and what is written in the book, a little later, well, basically the other page, it says, It is the individual who is not interested in his fellow man who has the greatest difficulties in life and provides the greatest injury to others. It is from among such individuals that all humans' failures spring, right? So it basically go even deeper in what we just have been talking about, and it says that all failures come from that, right? And when you really go deep about it, I think that it's pretty much true. Because everything we do in life involves other people, right? Like, we're not alone in this, right? We always have other people around us, and in our activities, we also have other people around us. So that means that if you are not interested in anyone but yourself, if you don't care about, other people needs, if you don't care about other people wants, well, guess what? It will not work, because in this life, like we said, we are always around other people. So it's important to show interest to them, but it has to be genuine. And if you don't do it, well, you are setting yourself up for failure, because you will simply not be around the right people. You will not have a lot of help from them, because if you don't care about them, well, obviously they will not care about you neither, right? It comes back to the first principle we said: people care about themselves. So if you don't even show interest in them, well, of course they will not help you, right? So it's very obvious when you think about it, but I believe that it's so important. So let's continue with the book. Uh, I'm just going through the chapter, trying to see, what could be the most interesting thing to share with you guys. Mm, uh, uh, uh. So Dale Carnegie goes into talking and relating this specific idea to business, which I'll get into it a little. So he basically says that showing that type of interest goes a long way to, number one, your customer, and also the people you work it, on the business. So even the customer is really important, and if I show you my example, and you will see how it will benefit you. But basically, in my business, I have a teaching business, basically, where I teach people how to trade the financial markets. It's a skill that I have. It's one of my main income, and I also teach people how to trade those markets. I pay very close attention to each and every single students that I have, whether it's when I work with them, or when they ask me questions, or during the follow up with them during the whole process of the course. I try to pay as much as attention as possible. I care a lot about my students, and when I say that, I am being real with you guys. I really do. Sometimes I even give them more time than what they paid. So for the course, as I'm recording the video right now, each student has 5 hours of personal training with me, and so that's what they pay for. But most of the time, and I would say even all the time, I go further than that. I don't just give 5 hours. If we include the sessions that go longer, if we include the questions, if we include all the little calls that we do to make sure everything is good, I pretty much give them maybe 6, 7, 8 hours. I give them even more time than what they paid for. And I do this with my heart, because I'm not gaining anything from that, right? I'm giving them my time. So they are not paying me more money to do that. So I'm just doing this with my heart, and that's what I mean when I say that you have to be real, and it has to be genuine, right? I'm not expecting them to give me anything, or to say anything, or do anything for me. I'm just doing it for them, right? I don't even ask something to them in return. I'm just like, oh, well, if that person needs more help, if that person needs my time, to understand more the concepts, why not giving them, right? So I believe that this concept, you can apply it in anything, and that is why here I'm talking about, more specifically the business side, because it's true in life in general, it's true in a relationship, it's true in business, it's true in anything. So To go into now another chapter that I've found really interesting, and it's at the beginning of the book. Let me just go back there. Um, so it says, don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Now, this is a big one as well, right? Um, I don't remember where I read that code, but it always stuck to my mind. And the code says that, like, there is basically no reason to try to, show other people that they're wrong, because most of the time, the person will not be able to fully understand what you mean, because that person already has a frequency of notion about what you're talking about. So, for example, if someone shows me his analysis that he made on a certain pair that he trades, right? So here I'm relating this to trading and what we're doing here more specifically. So if a person shows me his analysis, if I don't agree with his analysis, and if I tell him your analysis is wrong, blah blah blah, this is not right, all those things, well, oftentimes a lot of people will not even be able to reciprocate what I'm saying to them, because the only thing that will stick to their mind is, oh my god, he said that I am wrong. Why is he saying that? Why I am wrong? Right? That's the only thing that the person will actually receive, because we all have a filter and we don't like being wrong. So if we take this idea and extend it to just life in general, well, if let's say you are talking with another person, and if you get into an argument, it's very hard to show them your side of the story, because remember, people care about themselves, right? Everything comes back to that, but people care about themselves. So if you try to show them your own valid point, and if that person's valid points in their head is totally different than yours, it will be very hard to make them understand what you're saying. So in those situations, it's better to just give the other person some time to actually think about it, so that the person will actually form the idea in his own mind. And then the person will, think that it comes from them, and they will start to actually apply what you said or agree with what you said, right? So, like, if you just say to a person, oh my god, you're so wrong, like at this moment, at the exact same time, the person will not really be able to fully understand it, what you're saying, because we all have the filter, that is, just blocking the reality of the situation from us, right? So another code that I just came to my mind, and that I think is relevant. It says that the truth is what pleases the mind, right? The truth is what makes us feel comfortable. And that is extremely important to understand. So when I say that the other person will not be able to understand, your point if his point of view is different, well, it's because of that. It's because that in his mind, his truth is making him more comfortable than your truth. So there you go. So when you will give them your opinion about something, and if that opinion is different from theirs, it will be hard for them to actually grab it and fully understand it and respect it. So in those situations, the best thing you could do is simply give them the time, right? Give them the time to actually take the idea, their mind will think about it, and eventually it will form into a new idea. And once the mind is expanded by an idea, it can never go back to its traditional form, right? And so all of those things that we've just said is extremely important, with relationship, dealing with people, and all of those things. Because at the end of the day, and I've mentioned it a little earlier in the video, but at the end of the day, everything we do involves people. Everything we do has some relationship involved in them, right? Like everything. You like there's no, like the myth of this, lonely, like, if we come back to business, this lonely, like entrepreneur who builds a huge business and empire by himself. He has no employee, no one he shares time with. He only works and do everything by himself. Bullshit. That's bullshit. Just show me one example of this, right? Like, nobody does anything by only themselves, right? We always have other people around us. Like, every single great thing was built by more than one people, or at least one person got help at one point in their life from another person, right? We're not like, you know, we're not alone in this, and so it's important to understand that it goes a long way, right? When we say dealing with people, it's not just for them to agree with what you say, or have them as your client, or anything like that. It goes much much deeper, because everything relates with other people, everything is around other people, and so it's important to understand how to deal with them. So those two principles that I've just talked about, during the whole video, meaning show real appreciation to others, be interested in them. So all of those things will be included in the first principle, I would say. And the second thing is, don't complain, don't try to show them that they're wrong, and all of those things. That would be the second concepts. But those two concepts are extremely important in any area of life, because once again, everything involves other people. So you have to know how to deal with them in order to have the best experience possible, right? Because the reason why it's important to deal with people, it's not so that you can make more money or that you can manipulate them or any of those things. It's simply to make the moment better, right? It's simply to have a better time with them. It's simply to like have more fun, be more happy, share good experience with them, right? That's the whole point of it. And the reason why it's important is because if you don't know how to deal with people, you may end up in situations where, if you would have known how to deal with people, you would not have been in those situations, and it would have been much better. So I think that basically concludes my little video about this book right here, How to Win Friends and Influence People. One of my favorite books, like I said. Here I just went over, by the way, like two chapters basically, but there's a lot more in this book. So that's a great book. If you want to read it, you should definitely do that. It's personally one of my favorite book. And yeah, I hope that this video actually helped you in some kind of ways. That was the goal of it. Like I said, I just went through my mind, share my thoughts, and just talk with you guys about what I just read. All right, so on that, I wish you a very great day. Once again, I hope that it helped you. If it did, you can share this video around. I would also really appreciate it. So on that, take care, and yeah, I will see you in my next video. All right, bye bye guys.